Hello, everybody, and welcome back to yet another TA Escalation cast. Guys, I know you have been begging for it, you've been fiending for it, you've been desperate for a TA Escalation cast. I do read my comments. Somebody asked for a 4v4 in Escalation. And God is here to provide for you, my plebs. I am here for my community to make content. I made a promise, Mr. Frodo. I made a promise that I would provide content, and therefore, that is what I'm going to do. Guys, let's jump into this particular game. Like I said, it's a 4v4 on a map called Crazy Bat. Now, why is it called Crazy Bat? I have no freaking idea. It's just silly. But the thing about this map that's really interesting is that it's a water map, as you can see. And generally, in TA Escalation, we don't see enough water maps, especially in the big games and like the 4v4 games. You don't see as much of the water maps or play as much as we would like. So this could be a really interesting opportunity to see some epic naval action. I honestly have no idea how the game turns out. I have not watched this replay, but I do think it's going to be an epic game. We've got very even teams. Let's go ahead and introduce the players. Here for the Team 1, or the Southern team. Let's introduce Root first. Root, our player here in gold, the Corps Commander. Here in orange, we have Arm, Abdul Rahman, who's gone K-Bots first. Here in purple, the mod creator, Wotan. I love this guy. I love Wotan. This guy made this mod, and he is an epic boss. So hopefully this game, he can show us his skill, as he is the purple Arm Commander, going K-Bot first. And in red, we have Dai, Core going Hovercraft first. Now, Hovercraft first is an interesting choice because the Hovercraft plant is a little more expensive than the other T1 like K-Bot or vehicle or air plant. So it does take a little longer to get the eco for. As you can see, he built quite a few metal extractors and solar collectors prior to finishing that Hovercraft plant. So there you have it. That is our Southern team. And here in the Northeast Team 2, or the Northern Team, I will go ahead and introduce 19 Angel first, Core, K-Bot first. In pink, we have Diaper Man. Sorry, that name just kind of threw me for a loop there. I was a little bit shocked. I don't know why you would name yourself Diaper Man. I don't know who this actually is. A lot of our players will use pseudonyms to hide who they really are. But for all we know, it is Diaper Man, and Diaper Man is the only player who has gone air this game. Here in green, we have Merv going K-Bot first. And finally, we have Lemon Cannon, who was in my last cast. In my last cast, if you watched against EXE, Lemon Cannon, we already know he's a very formidable, very strong, very OP player, and he's already on T2 K-Bots. So, guys, I expect that this game will be a little bit slow starting out just because the map is actually massive. The map is actually huge. As Air Trump might say, huge. It is a huge map from China. And so, because of how big the map is, there may be a little bit of a lull in the action as the players slowly take over the map. However, Wotan may be the person to strike first blood. He has quite a few peewees here, and they do get some damage done on this Geo, but they can't quite kill it as a Pyro comes out just in time to defend that. Pink with a little bit of harassment with the air here, some Avengers getting a little bit of damage done, a little bit of harassment, kind of annoying. They might kill this construction hovercraft, so that is a nice pickup that will slow down Daihat's production speed. But anyways, guys, if you are new to my channel, if you have only played OTA or Original Total Annihilation, this is a mod called Escalation. This mod is sort of like, it's hard to say whether you would call it like TA2. A lot of people would say that Bar is TA2. Or Forged Alliance was technically the spiritual sequel. Or this could just be considered a massive expansion of the original game. There is all kinds of new units, new technologies, new mechanics, and the whole thing is rebalanced. And so the games in particular are really fun to watch in these big 4v4 and 5v5 kind of matches, because you will see units and strategies that you could not even imagine if you have not seen this mod. So prepare yourself for some epic gameplay. Starting out, it's a little slow, but I promise you it will get crazy in just a few minutes. Let's talk about what's going on a little bit here. I would love to see some naval play. As I said, I chose this replay because there is water, and we don't often see water in these escalation games. Pink Diaper Man has decided to commit to a naval play here with 2 shipyards pumping out some Vikings. The Viking, a new unit in Escalation. I believe the Viking is a... actually, let me double check. The Viking is an escort frigate, and so these have some anti-air capability and some depth charges. They are decent against other ships. However, they are completely useless against hovercraft, which is kind of interesting because Red has gone into hover, though it looks like he reclaimed it and went straight into advanced K-bots. So a little bit of action here at the top as well. Yellow moving through with a few freakers, which is like a core T2 harassment K-bot. They're very good for getting behind enemy lines and inflicting damage. I'm going to go ahead and slow it down just a little bit. So, anyway, the northern team really pushing back here. They want to take control of this northwest corner. This is a very nice strategic point for a team to take over. If they can take over this part of the map, there's some metal, but also it will give them a nice operating base to send units down at their opponents. Red also building some freakers. Again, the freaker is more of a raiding K-bot. It doesn't do the most damage, but it's fast, and it's very good at getting behind enemy lines and killing eco and things like that. So, Pink still amassing quite a impressive navy here. Now throwing in some destroyers, some enforcers. Let's go ahead and look at this again. I thought the... okay, no, I was wrong about that. Okay, so the Viking is somewhere between the Skeeter and an OTA and the destroyer. It shoots missiles. It kind of has... it's more of a direct engagement frigate. Sorry, my words are failing me today. These are... I'm trying to remember. There's an equivalent in Bar, which are called frigates, I guess. So the Viking is basically the frigate in Escalation. The frigate is somewhere between the destroyer and the Skeeter, which is the scout. The scout has been pretty heavily nerfed. The Skeeters have been pretty heavily nerfed in Escalation, and so the Viking is a nice middle ground. It is a somewhat cheap skirmisher on the seas, where the Corsair is what I was thinking the Viking was, the anti-air and anti-sub T1 unit. We're seeing quite a few freakers all over the map right here, but Orange moving through with quite a few Pelicans, but I don't know how much they're going to get done. It does seem like Pink having just enough to maybe push this back, but Yellow doing a nice job with all these freakers, in addition to taking most of the north here, also taking this sort of middle island, or this middle land bridge, if you will. And did I say orange? I meant yellow. Yellow doing that, and then yellow here at the top as well, building some Vipers to try to secure this top area. And so at the moment, the northern team, I think, doing a little bit better. It's very close, but the northern team has control of the sea here, where Pink has entered into the water and has taken control. Red now building a shipyard, but it is kind of a little bit late to be building a shipyard, as Pink has been on 3 shipyards for about 5-10 minutes now, which will give Pink that advantage in the water. Guys, it is a little bit hard to keep up with everything happening. Like I said, the action will start exploding here in a few minutes, and explode it has. And so there's battles happening in the northwest, there's battles happening in the center, and of course there's battles happening in the sea. Now guys, on a map like this, water is important. Controlling the sea is very, very important. Pink would love to get complete control of the ocean, or the pond here. And certainly he has quite an impressive force to do it with. Enforcers, similar to how they were in OTA, just a very strong naval unit. They've got the direct fire cannons, of course, and they've got the depth charges, making them good against basically any naval threat in the game at the 2-1 stage. They can even deal with hovercrafts and submarines as well. They can also deal with amphibious units like Gimps. So Red really holding on for dear life here in the south, trying to retain his foothold in the water. He's doing a decent job with only 1 shipyard and this hovercraft platform, which he may have rebuilt, or maybe he just never got rid of it. I guess I'm not sure. But either way, Red is slowly pushing Pink back here. And let's see what else is going on. Let's check the player bases to see if there's anything happening that's super important. Just a lot of eco on the north side. Pink has gone air. No player has really gone heavily into air. I'd like to see some T2 air play. That might be an interesting dynamic. Let's see. Red going into T3. Red sort of wearing many different hats here. He's gone naval, he's gone hovercraft, he's got T2 K-bots, he's got air, and now going into T3 K-bots. Orange going into ARM T3 K-bots. And what is our friend Root doing? I'm looking, nothing too interesting, just eco, but right now most of the action is happening in the water. Of course, the north has the northern team has secured this corner of the map, the northeast corner, so that is good for them. However, the southern team looks to be holding the center point, and in the water we continue to have more engagements, submarines and Gimps. And I do think that Pink's naval fleet is a little bit superior here. Boats in general are going to beat amphibious units, but there are quite a few subs So it's pretty close. Let's see how many kills these subs have. 4 kills on that one. I may be underestimating the GIMP torpedo. I didn't think it was that strong, but these GIMPs are taking a long time to kill, and it almost feels like Red is pulling ahead in this battle, and so that sort of surprises me as Orange sends a few more Pelicans up, but Pink with a nice fighter screen, and now Pink bringing in some Cormont. That is a new Escalation unit. It is a depth charge gunship, and so these are very good against especially T1 naval units. If he gets enough T1 gunships here, he could definitely change the tide of the battle in the sea. But right now it's very close. Part of the issue here for Pink is that Die-Hat, our red player, has a better economy. As you can see, he's got quite an impressive amount of mohos. He's got some metal makers, he's got fusions, he's got resource generators, and Pink, on the other hand, his economy is not quite as impressive. He does have quite a few mohos, but it does seem like Red's eco is better. So now, Purple finally pushing through the center into the north part of the map, and there is some defense here. It is very close. It's hard to say whether he'll break through. He may break through. However, Pink also sending down some Reapers. So this is a close engagement here. Wotan attempting to get something done, but I have to say, Pink, it feels like, is playing for his whole team. He's fighting for the sea, and also fighting up here for the land. I mean, what the heck is everyone else doing? Why is Pink the only person participating in the game on the northern side? That I would truly like to know. Yellow is, of course, building some defenses up here and holding that, so that's something. But Wotan has broken through here. And he will start to move in to Team 2's base if he can. What else is going on? Red almost done with his T3 gantry. What about Orange? Orange still pretty far away from his T3 gantry. So right now, most of the action happening in the center is Wotan pushing through with this force. It's doing better than I thought it would. I think these spiders are contributing a lot. The spider will paralyze enemy units. It will stun them. The spider was in OTA, but they were a little different. In this game, they're much smaller and I think faster as well. They were a little bit huge in the original game. They were kind of unwieldy. But nonetheless, it does seem like the northeastern team may finally kill Wotan's attack, but here in the north, another attack, this time by Root. He is pushing in with some Reapers, Manticore. But Lemon Cannon does have quite a few defenses here, so it's going to be close. However, Root with a nicely placed Punisher, which is going to shell some of these defenses, making this battle a lot closer than it might have been. This Viper will probably die eventually. So even though Root's forces were killed, most of Lemon Cannon's defenses are now gone, which will allow the next attack to maybe be even more effective. Mr. Diaper Man here in pink, moving down again with a nice T1 fleet. Now again, I feel like pink has the superior armada here. He's got a nice mixture of destroyers and corsairs, and that should deal with even these submarines quite effectively. However, the corsairs cannot interact with the slingers at all unless they are forced attacked. So, I don't know. I guess I'm wrong. I guess Red does have enough to push this back. Wotan with yet another attack, this time with some Lugers tossed into the mix. And now Merv with a counterattack here at the northwestern corner of the map. There is just kind of action happening everywhere. This game is all over the place right now. Someone is on T3. It looks like our friend Lemon Cannon has reached the T3 phase first and is pumping out some Widows. I do want to discuss something someone said in the comments of my last game. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this. All the coloring that people are doing. Someone had said, "Oh, look at that! A warlord is on the field or in the sea, as Die Hat has entered the T2 phase of the naval battle, and with this warlord, that is going to push back Pink. Pink has almost nothing left, and with Die Hat having this warlord and all of these slingers." He is in serious trouble. I really did think that Pink's forces were enough to at least take out what was in the middle, but I think I underestimated the power of both the submarines and, of course, the slingers. And now Red with this warlord is just going to be a force to be reckoned with, because Pink just doesn't have too much left. He has about 8 enforcers, but that is not going to be enough to stop all of this. However, Die Hat has split up his army a little bit. He needs to sort of gather his fleet and try to micro more effectively. And I think if he does that, Pink is dead for sure. Or at least his hopes of staying in the pond are going to be completely dashed, because the Warlord in this game is even stronger than it is in Bar. Yesterday, guys, I casted a game where you saw Warlords in Bar, the Warlord, the core battleship. It is called something different in Bar. It's the same unit. It's got a triple cannon and a gat laser. They're strong in Bar, as you saw. The Warlords in Bar won the game, but they're even stronger here. I don't know how much stronger. It's hard to say because the games are kind of different, but maybe 2 or 3 times as strong. They're probably more expensive. 11 kills already on this beast of a freaking monster raid boss, and now with a new one, a second one joining the fray. Pink's hope of staying in the sea are almost completely dashed. He is in serious trouble. Like I said, the Warlord is strong in Bar, but it's nothing compared to... In Escalation, it's stronger. And I think just because the engines are a little bit different, I'm not saying that, not saying they're underpowered in Bar. They're certainly strong. If anything, they're overpowered in this game. But nonetheless, they are just absolutely disgusting. We have seen so many games where the Warlords just take over, where the Arm Millennium is the equivalent. Though the Warlord a little bit better in direct combat, but anyway, now that the southern team has pretty much taken control of the sea, the northern team is going to have to try to find a foothold somewhere else on the map. I did mention earlier, whoever takes control of the sea, whatever team takes control of the sea is going to have a huge advantage. This is true in pretty much any TA iteration. In Forged Alliance, this is also the case. And now these Warlords finally making their way to the top of the pond, and they are just going to absolutely decimate everything in their firing range. So with the southern team taking control of the sea here, the northern team has to find an advantage somewhere else, or they are in serious trouble. They are still holding the center. They're still fighting for the top. The top left corner, very contested right now. Neither team has a complete foothold on it, though. Lemon Cannon, of course, has better defenses. He's got a few DDMs here, and he's got some cans and widows. But man, it is such a sight to behold watching these warlords just devastate the shoreline. Look at this. This is just not right. Someone tell Wotan to nerf these things, man. It's just so epic. But, oh, hold that thought. Lemon Cannon. Alright. Let me slow it down a little bit. Actually, I need to explain something before... Because if you and the viewer do not know Escalation, you're going to wonder what the heck's going on. There is a T3 K-bot for the core called the Defiler. It is a radiation spider. What it does, and it's... when you hear this, you're just going to be like, your brain's going to explode, you know, so I hope you're sitting down. What this thing does, you build it, and it's all-terrain. It can go under the water. It can climb up hills and stuff. Its only weapon is like a radiation field around itself. It kills everything around itself in an AoE. And so these are interesting units. They're not usually great in direct combat, unless you have a lot of them. What they're really good at is this kind of attack right here, where you get a group of them and you surprise your enemy. And what Yellow did here, he built like 8 of these. He built 8 of these Defilers. He walked them down, and I'm sorry I wasn't watching this. I was too entranced by the warlords. He walked these down here into the water. They went through the water, and they made landfall here. Now, the southern team was not expecting this at all. And so these have walked all the way from Daihat's base, starting here. Starting here. And they've walked all the way south, across the river. This way. All the way down here. And now, these things are going to try to inflict as much carnage as they can. There's no way these things survive, right? Like, this is a suicide mission for sure. These Defilers are going to die. The question is, how much carnage can they inflict before they are destroyed by the southern team? You can see these blue circles indicate the radiation field effect. Certainly the southern team caught off guard by this attack. How much damage can they get done before they're taken out? I'm a little bit surprised that they're not doing more. Ultimately, the southern team did handle that pretty well. Yeah, I expected those Defilers to do a lot more than what they actually did. But nonetheless, now the southern team with these warlords shelling the bastion here. The bastion, a core T3 heavy plasma defense, but even that is probably not going to be enough, unfortunately, to stop our warlords from just having their way with the shoreline here. And Wotan with a counterattack. These shooters, very nice counter to the cans and some of the bigger units. I think the shooters are also what dealt with those defilers pretty well. But nonetheless, I think yellow expected to get a lot more done with that defiler attack than what he did. He's now building more defilers and sending them northwest. Probably going to try to have them climb on the mountains here. Can they climb? Maybe they can't. Maybe they've got to go around. They do have some climbing ability. But to be honest though, I don't think defilers are really the call anymore. If that first attack didn't work, I doubt more attacks are really going to change anything. I'd like to see some juggernauts or Karganeth or what is it called here? Juggernauts. Arbitrators would be fine. I thought there was a. I thought Karganeth was the name of it. Talos. Talos is the equivalent to the Karganeth bar. Anyway, I don't think defilers are really the answer here. Strong though they are, and they will get some damage done walking into Wotan's army. But ultimately, I think the shooters are a nice counter to these. And that brings me back to a point that I was trying to make as the Warlords continue to shell the southern shore of the northern team. These Warlords are such a problem. I can't emphasize how much of an issue this is. 47 kills on that one and 29 on the other. These are a nuisance and a half. And if the northern team doesn't deal with them, they're just going to continue to inflict carnage all over the world. Orange with some brawlers here. Unfortunately, not really enough brawlers to take care of this army, though it will slow it down momentarily. And now, Root moving through with a huge army of Goliaths. Okay, so going back, one of the commenters in my last video was sort of complaining that T3 is too strong in Escalation, and that, you know, the lowest tier T3 unit, which is the Widow, in this case for the core K-bot, should not be able to beat all of T2 for the previous fact. So that the lowest T3 unit should not be able to beat the entire T2 arsenal. What I want to say is that they don't. As you saw earlier with Wotan's shooters, the shooters are actually pretty decent at dealing with the Widows and the Defilers. The Arm Penetrator is also a T2 unit that can deal with T3 pretty well, especially if you have enough of them. It's not the case that just once you get to T3, T2 becomes useless. I never said that. There are T2 units that can counter T3, or at the very least fight T3. But you do have to build the right T2 units. T3 is very strong, so that's kind of how the mod's designed. But yeah, it seems like they took care of Root's attack, and now Pink counterattacking with his Reapers. He takes out a Doomsday Machine here. Quite a few Mortys coming in as well from our light blue player. And can the northern team crack this entrance here? They have made a dent. They've taken out a Doomsday Machine. There's not a lot of defenses left. There's one DDM. They're working on a Bastion. They've taken out the majority of the emplacements here. And can the northern team continue applying enough pressure to break into the southern team's base? Now, purple sending a huge army of scouts. I'd like to know why. Did he build a nuke? Trying to figure out what purple's doing that justifies all these scouts. Maybe he's just getting scouting information for his team. But Lemon Cannon, of course, does love his widows. And I think the widow's probably better here than the defilers for what he's trying to do. The Marauder is, of course, the ARM equivalent. It is the T3 rocket K-bot. Rocket barrage K-bot. But nonetheless, these warlords now being repaired by construction aircraft, they are war heroes. And I do have to say, it's hard to say it's hard to decide who's ahead at this particular moment. Both teams doing really well, but I do think the southern team does have the economic advantage, as you can see here. Root known for his macro, Root known for his incredible eco management. He has got quite a sim city going on here, but Dynet also with a very impressive economy. Or Diehat, excuse me. But it does seem like the northern team has taken out most of these emplacements now in the top left corner, and because of that, they will get some map control. They're already holding the center. So as it stands right now, the southern team has control of the sea, but the northern team has control of the center, and they have control of the top left. So it's still pretty even overall. However, these warlords continue to be such a freaking problem for Team 2 to deal with. At this point, they are just putting in absolute work. Red has only built 2, and that is all he has really needed. Now building a Tyrant. Tyrant is a T3 battleship. I don't know exactly what you'd call it, but it's basically a T3 battleship. So if you thought the Warlord was kind of like overpowered, just wait till this thing gets out. Then you'll just be, then you'll just be falling out of your chair with excitement, because this thing makes the Warlords look weak by comparison. Here we go, tactical nuke. Flying in there, slow down the aggression. So this is still a very even game, even though Red is holding the sea and causing a lot of carnage. The northern team is continuing to put pressure through these land bridges in the center and the northwest. So still a very, very close game. Neither team is explicitly ahead, or neither team is super far ahead. It is super close. I couldn't say who's winning right now. Both teams doing very well in their own respective manner. However, Orange with the nice use of brawlers here, and the truth is that Team 2 not building enough air defense. These brawlers should not be getting such a free reign over their entire army. Pink bringing in a few Avengers, and that may eventually clean these up. But these brawlers, sort of the heroes of the war right now, holding on for dear life for the southern team as these attacks continue to stream through, especially by Lemon Cannon. These brawlers really allowing him to hang on a lot longer than it's allowing Red to hang on a lot longer than he should be able to. So props to Orange here. Orange's economy is almost nothing. He's just got a tiny little corner of the map. His base is basically this. This is his base. He's got this. That's it. That's all Orange gets. And this too. So orange is just is kind of in a tiny little corner here. But he's using his resources wisely and keeping his team in the game. However, let's hold that thought. Die Hat with a massive fleet of T2 bombers flying in now. Oops. Sorry about that, guys. I didn't think that would minimize the game, but anyway, Die Hat has built a quite an impressive force of T2 bombers. And getting a decent amount accomplished as well. Killing some fusions in this area here. And of course, killing these two. So, very well done, I'd say, by Red. I wasn't even aware that he was building a bomber fleet. I guess he was sort of stacking them here. He's also building a nuke, so Red building the first nuke of the game, I think. But the first pounder of the game is now making its way to the southern corner of the map. Here this tactical nuke will fire again and take out a half-finished structure. This Tyrant now over halfway done, but guys, when this Tyrant completes, it is going to be devastating, absolutely devastating for the Northern team. They've got to do something right away. But I don't know, I feel like Die Hat has really been the star of this game. Every player has been contributing something. But Die Hat has definitely been the star of the show. Feels like he took over the sea. He's been causing all kinds of chaos. As you can see, the whole southern corner of the coast here has just been decimated. He's done really well with the bombing runs. Yellow continuing to send these fleets, or these attacks. Oh, there is another T3 nuke that I did not spot, so looks like the Northern team is now on T3 nukes. Or, I mean, a nuke is T3, but as opposed to the T2 tactical nuke. So the Southern team is now getting ready to nuke their opponents into oblivion. And the Northern team is going to have to build some anti-nukes if they want to survive. Oh, however, they do have their own nuke here, so both teams building nukes. Red finally with some Hydras. The Hydras, I think, have an even greater range than the Warlords. However, they won't quite be able to hit the juicy targets here. These are the juicy targets. But once the Tyrant finishes, and there she is now on the field, she will be able to hit the juicy targets. So, the Southern team definitely having the advantage now. They have been able to hold off the aggression. Like I said, Die Hat really the star of the show here. He is the player that has taken control of the sea. He's done some nice air raids, and he has also defended his base. A lot of aggression was coming through this area, and he built just enough defense to hold it off. I think a nuke was fired, but I think what happened was that an anti-nuke stopped it. I don't think the nuke landed. Guys, there is a bug in the OTA engine which will happen sometimes that is so frustrating, where a nuke will fire from the silo and an anti-nuke will intercept it and it will explode above the silo, killing everything in the player's base that launched the nuke. I don't know if that's what happened, but it kind of seems like that's what happened to me. It seemed like Yellow tried to launch a nuke, the Southern team had an anti-nuke, and because Yellow has an anti-nuke, so I didn't exactly get to see what happened, but the problem is you don't get a lot of a chance to see it if it happens. This Tyrant is now on the front lines. As I said, it will be able to hit all the way up here with its missiles and its cannons. It does need to be a little closer to the shoreline. The Gorgon and the Pounder do pass each other. The Gorgon of orange moving through here. And it will take out quite a few units in this area. Mostly light blues units. Angel, 19 Angels units. So it's being annoying. Let's see how many kills it has. 7 kills so far. Nothing too extraordinary, but it is, if nothing else, annoying. But now the Tyrant in range. However, its shells are hitting the terrain here. He needs to move this thing here. Fire from that angle. If he fires from this angle, he will be able to hit his targets. The Gorgon continuing to move forward. But it doesn't have much health left. As you can see, its legs are starting to fall off as it slowly dies. And it will finally explode there, right on the edge of Light Blue's base. So the Tyrant can certainly hit the base, but he needs to be moved. However, Die-Hat may not even need the Tyrant as he flies through with yet another aerial raid onto Light Blue's base, taking out even more eco. Oh my god, he didn't quite get the fusions. Will these things live with 1 health? Man, I'm a little surprised that all those bombers weren't able to take out a single fusion there. Finally, I think Red moving his Tyrant a little bit to the west. That's what he needs to do, so that it can get in firing range, or that it can have a direct line of sight to its targets. But yeah, I'm amazed that these fusion reactors did not die. Of course, there is a monolith here. I will keep my eye on nukes. I know the Southern team has nukes. They may start using them at any time. There is not an audio warning, but there is an X on the map when the nuke is fired. Die-Hat's still hitting the wall here. He needs to move this huge battleship or flagship just a little bit left, just a tiny bit left, and then he can start hitting his targets. This Pounder is finally in a range, and also Yellow bringing in some T3 gunships. Can they kill a Krogoth though? That's probably not the best target. And there's too much air defense here. Those things will die almost immediately. Finally, this Tyrant, I think, able to hit its targets. And Light Blue's units are going to have to duck for cover because this thing is just absolute destruction. Killing anything that it can get its guns onto. The Pounder did die. Didn't accomplish too much. It was a little too late in the game for the pounder to have the sort of effect that I'm sure Pink wanted it to have. The northern team sort of frustrated as one of their players left. Don't know which player it was. Let's see. Either way, Pink is almost dead. Pink, I think, has given all of his stuff to 19 Angel as this tyrant continues to lay waste to everything on the shoreline. The entire southern corner of Team 2's base has just been decimated here completely. And at this point, it's probably just a matter of time now until the southern team moves through with an unstoppable force. 27 kills already on this monster. And nothing can even get close to it. And I think once the Cerberus and Krogoth and Gorgons make it to the front line, that will probably be all that she wrote for the northern team. Lemon Cannon did a really good job with his usage of T2 units. Or T3 units, rather. He did a good job of putting a lot of pressure on the southern team, but ultimately was never able to break through. Pink did a good job for a while holding the C, but Die Hat just had superior naval control or superior naval play. Yellow keeping his team in the game with these Harpies. These will kill the Cerberus pretty quickly. And now, Die Hat with some more bombing runs. Pink has left the game now. Orange with another Gorgon moving slowly into the base, but I think it'll die once again just short of the truly juicy targets. The second tyrant now on the field, and a Krogoth moving through the water as well. And there's just not much left to stop the southern team. Here comes a nuke. It may finally make it in. Oh my god, here we go. It'll hit right here. It'll take all of that out. Nice nuke there. And with that, I think Team 2 is in serious trouble. Krogoth moving through here. Let me slow it down so you can appreciate the carnage. Krogoth in Escalation is truly a sight to behold. Much more powerful than it was in the original game. Sort of an army to itself. An army of its own. Raid boss. And Root with a couple Krogoths as well. Not enough air defense though. Lemon Cannon still holding on for dear life with his Harpies. But it's just not going to be enough. As Purple moving in, Root coming in through the north, Wotan coming in through the mid, and Die Hat coming in through the south. This is sort of sad to watch as 19 Angel, our teal player, light blue, he will bite the dust. And with that, the northern team does tap out. So guys, this was a pretty amazing game. A lot of really cool naval play. Great usage of T3 units. Some nice airplay by Diehat, especially. Kind of got to see a little bit of everything. Got to see some nukes. So, guys, I hope you enjoyed this game. I hope you got your 4v4 fix and Escalation. My next cast will be a bar cast. I will try to do a team game, like a bigger bar game instead of a 1v1. So, guys, thank you for watching the cast. This was a really cool game. I hope to get some more naval games in Escalation because they're so fun to cast. So thank you for watching, and I will see you in the next game.